Om Apyayantu mamangani Vak pranaschakshu shrutramatho balamendriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahma upanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam ma brahma nirakarut Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam mestu Tadatmani nirate Ya upanishatsu dharmaste mayi santu Te mayi santu Om Shanti 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 Om. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, the mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become efficient, strong. All is verily the Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. Let me never deny this truth. May this truth never reject me either. I am aware the experience of this truth requires cultivation of virtues spoken of by the scriptures. May all those virtues be with me. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel that I am divine. Each of us is divine. Let me feel that. Let me feel the divine presence in me. By thinking of my heart full of divine effulgence. The knowledge highest, the Sambodhi has removed all the illusions. all ego, product of ignorance, has vanished. I can feel the all-pervading, luminous, and infinitely blissful Brahman inside and outside. In fact, there is no inside and outside. It is one without second. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So please join in chanting the three Buddhist salutations. Om Buddham Sharanam Gacchami.
Buddham Sharanam Gacchami.
Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami.
Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami.
Sangham Sharanam Gacchami.
Sangham Sharanam Gacchami.
I take refuge in the awakened one, the Buddha. I take refuge in his teachings, the Dhamma, and I take refuge in his tradition, the Sangha. So, dear friends, this summer we have been studying, today's is the fourth class on this day. Shantideva's Bodhicharyavatara. Bodhicharyavatara is a very celebrated text of Buddhism, especially what is called the Mahayana sect. And study of this book removes many of the wrong ideas that we harbor about Buddhism. I had heard from many that in Buddhism there is no worship of image, means as a symbol, which is not true. This book mentions how to worship. Also many think that there is no worship at all in Buddhist uh, this doctrine, which is also wrong. Actually, there is one whole chapter that we actually studied last year on this worship, which exactly goes along the lines of what the Hindus do, like offering sandal paste, offering flower, offering a garland and what not, so many wonderful, same rituals are described in great details. So, that idea that in Buddhism there is no such worship, it is not right. In fact, at one stage, it is a big necessity, and at another stage, when you transcend all forms and all rituals and are established in Buddhism, then you can uh, uh, go beyond that. So, then we were seeing that developing all different virtues is also necessary for cultivation of this bodhi, what is called Bodhicharyavatara is the practices that are necessary for the one who wants to become a Buddha, an awakened one. This awakened one is with all of us, like we all sleep and then we wake up. It is so. We are in a way sleeping in ignorance of our true nature. So, by shaking us up, we wake up and see the truth. So, for this shaking up is the development of various virtues. In fact, it is mainly giving up all the bad things we have acquired due to ignorance. So that is the practice. Last time we were discussing what is called Shantideva, and it means very difficult exactly to translate this word Shanti as it has been used here. Sometimes it can be thought of as forgiveness or developing patience. It goes a little beyond that. Means one should not hold anybody as doing something against us. It is one should not have any anger or jealousy in life. And why this is to be practiced? Because we have it, so we need to practice to overcome it. Had we not had it at all, the question would be redundant. But why the practice is necessary? Because I have anger, resentment, jealousy, and so I have to see that it hurts me. And so we have to practice these things. That is, Kshanti Paramita. We had seen many beautiful verses from that, and today we shall take up a couple of more. That one very interesting thing that Shantideva mentions here is that those who do harm to you, intend to do harm to you, you should see them as your beneficiaries because they help you to practice this forgiveness or not harboring any ill thought. We need something to practice with. Without practice, we do not acquire those things. And those who intend to hurt us, we get agitated, we get angry. And that disturbs our life. But now, how not to do that? When some such thing is happening, then we have the opportunity to develop the opposite feelings that bring up the feelings that this person is actually helping me to practice this forbearance. It is in many saints' literature you find that one should have your critics around you, those who abuse you, who hurt you, such people should be around you because then they help you by their presence to practice this forbearance, this feeling of calmly looking at it and not having any thought. Also, if you see, this is actually also you will find parallel in Patanjali's yoga aphorism on this, that when you find somebody and getting something that you also were aspiring for, you didn't get it, that fellow got it, it brings out jealousy. So one has to see that no, I didn't get it means in this body, but a friend of mine got it, so I should be happy about it. And that what that will do is it will make our minds calm. We will be able to sleep peacefully. Many times we cannot sleep also if we have the inimical or hateful thoughts about anybody. So who is the victim? I am the victim of harboring ill thoughts about anybody. I become victim of my own these bad thoughts. So this is to be practiced. It is and so one should practice, he says, that out of ignorance previously I committed many actions that now result in others causing me harm. It is to be seen, last time we discussed this verse, that it is our own karma that comes back to us. It is not that somebody is harming me. It is my karma that is revisiting me. I sowed something and now the plant has grown. So it is I am getting the fruits of my own karma. So do not blame anybody for that. Thus all harm I receive is related to my own actions. Then why get angry with others? Seeing this to be the case, I should practice what is meritorious, impelled by the wish that all living beings will develop love for one another. They should all develop love for one another. Every living being, let there be flow of love in all. That should be my action. If, for example, a house caught fire, then what people do, and there was a danger of the fire spreading to an adjacent house, it would be advisable to remove anything such as dry grass that might enable the fire to spread. That is what is done also in wildlife, in wildfires in California and all that they protect the urban population by not letting the fire spread, remove all the grass and meadows in between so that the fire gets contained there. So, similarly, one should develop a distance, a mental distance from people who keep on thinking of such harmful ideas. They get angry all the time because it will uh, become an impediment in one's own practice as a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is the one who is going towards that ultimate goal of becoming Buddha, the awakened one. So that mind will not find it congenial to be in the presence of those who say talk of hatred. It is, I know, one very nice Swami. When somebody's criticism is going on, he would just leave the place. Not only he won't participate in that criticism, he will just walk away from there so that he doesn't become a victim of this. So, this is something that needs to be practiced. So, and then there is another idea that is, again, you will find it in Patanjali's yoga aphorisms also. I should always rejoice in others' happiness and virtue. If others are happy, I should feel happy for them. This joy causes my virtue to increase. Moreover, if it is the cause of delighting the holy beings and the supreme method for benefiting others. So, this distance between I and world, I and you, and that needs to be erased. That if that is happy, then this also is happy. It is something that needs to be cultivated because I am there also. Same I is in all. That is how Vedantists say about it. The Buddhists do not use that term because there the word I has a little different connotation and that we will see later. But therefore they don't use the word I, but it is the same one principle is everywhere. So if somebody becomes happy, I should practice becoming happy in the other person's happiness so that my mind remains calm and it feels that benevolence for everyone. So this is again matter of practice because this does not happen naturally. So these things we had been seeing is my enemy, this we discussed a little bit last time. My enemy is the cause of my accumulating merit of patience. Because without him there is no patience to practice, whereas with him there is. So how does he obstruct my practice of virtue? That it is there you get a chance to practice. That there is like in sports. I was telling the young adult that why one should play sports because you see, although somebody is your opponent in the sport, that opponent actually is enabling you to play. Without the opponent, how will you play? How will you exercise? So, in this also, if somebody is not inimical to you, how is there going to be any scope to exercise forgiveness, patience, forbearance? So, let us be thankful to that person and to be there for him to have these virtues to be practiced. Now there is this next chapter which is called Virya Paramita. Virya means there has to be a firm resolve, the power has to be there. The power of resolve, the power of enthusiastic approach to do the right things, the tendency not to put them off for some later time, that all is a matter of cultivation. Because again, these tendencies are, it is a well-known fact that we have the tendency to put the things off for some later date, later time. We can do it tomorrow or later, day after tomorrow. And then thus it doesn't get done at all. The laziness increases. And so we have to arouse in us this spirit of acting enthusiastically to our own good. If we do not do it, it is a twofold danger. We will read this that so the effort is to be made in this respect. Many say, oh, I leave everything to God. Oh, it is, have we become so actually reliant to God? And we leave to God only those things which require a lot of cultivation of good things in life. Other things we do not leave to God, and we do those ourselves, like getting upset with somebody. Oh, let God do it. No, I do that myself, yeah, it is let God take care of whatever bad my spouse has. Let me not take up the charge. I have other better things to do. No, I will just jump into that. So, therefore, one must turn this active spirit in us to the our own good. That is to keep on cultivating this mind of Bodhisattva more and more. So he introduces that with the practice of patience, I should train in effort because the fruit of enlightenment depends on it. It is, we should be active, up and doing, and not that it will happen sometimes, I don't care, I am feeling very tired, very sleepy. No, it is, this is automatically these things take place, and we should therefore bring up that spirit. No, why should I be indolent and lazy like this? It doesn't become me because it perpetuates, And that, he says here, just as a candle flame cannot move without wind, so the collections of wisdom and merit cannot grow without effort. In fact, a great effort needs to be put in. Highly disciplined, determined effort is needed for that, because this requires overcoming many bad tendencies that have already made our mind their home. They have purchased a condo in our mind. So they have to be kicked out from there. It takes efforts. So therefore, one must be up and doing. And if we delay, or if we are not actively doing it, then it is difficult. So impossible. And it is like climbing a very high hill. It requires efforts, and determined efforts, because one gets tired, and then various such feelings come. Once I was climbing, it is not a very high thing as such, but the climb was steep and difficult. And moreover, it was such a hot sun on my head. The temperatures were very high. This happened in Rajasthan near Ajmer. There is this Savitri hill there. So I took a fully dip in the pond there, Pushkar Tirth, and then I went to that Savitri mountain, and then I started climbing. The heat was so much. I had a small bottle of water. So after climbing for 3 minutes, I took a sip. Then another 3-4 minutes I climbed, took another sip. It was getting hot. And after going halfway, then I thought, it will be difficult, very difficult. I may die in the process probably if I continue like this. But then still I pushed myself, drank whatever water was left. But then it was maybe another 25 or more, about 30-40 steps were still left to climb. And step means not this like 6 inch or 8 inch. Each step was more than a foot. So it is, and very steep. So I sat down, thinking that no, I will not be able to do that. And then somebody was coming down. He said, the temple is about to close. Do you want to go? Then run. I remembered, oh yes, I have climbed so much. Now just for a little bit, am I going to let it go? Mustering all the strength that I had, I started actually jumping, running. And then I entered it. The priest was just locking. I requested him, just give me 1 minute, please. And looking at my very tired person, sweating hot and all that, he opened. I saluted. I especially wanted to go because Holy Mother had gone there. Now there is a picture also there. When I went, it wasn't there. So, and see, so it requires to bring up that effort. No, I have to do it. So many times the temptation comes, it is too tiring. No, I don't want to do that. In spiritual life, actually, this climb is far more than that Savitri mountain climbing in hot sun. So one has to be far more determined. It is, there are occasions when we say, now let me take rest, my body is tired, from tomorrow the body gets into that kind of a habit. So we should not let it happen in that way. So it is effort is a mind. It is now in the mind. Let us remember, the mind does the effort. Body is a hardware that gets propelled by mind. So, effort is a mind that delights in virtue. Its opponents are. Now we will be able to easily, at least I will be able to easily recognize the opponents very much present, that its opponents are the laziness, indolence, the laziness of being attracted to non-virtuous actions. That we are attached to actions which are not going to increase our merit, our virtue, our spiritual practice. But we are habituated to that, and we do not want to put our foot down, that no, I don't want to get into those things at all. We meekly say, okay, this time. But that gives those tendencies a wrong signal. So the laziness increases, indolence increases. So one has to say, period, no more, that's it. I am not going to fall prey to any of these things, and that determination has to be aroused, practiced steadfastly. So that is the laziness of discouragement. That is a very important statement, because we practice, and when we do not see the expected results, what happens, Charlie? We feel discouraged, isn't it? Yeah, it happens to us all, that nothing is happening. I feel that I am not improving at all. This is the obvious, or the superficial, the expression on the surface is like that, that I am not progressing at all. The subconscious idea there, that is that, okay, so let it be not practiced at all. It is anyway difficult, and then I am not made for it. This is a statement that I hear very often. Oh, I think I am not made for spiritual life. It is okay if you say that, then there is not much of a hope. There is very little one can do about it. But it is not the case that every human being is made for this. That is the special feature that has been pointed out in the very first chapter of this book, and in many celebrated texts of all other religions also you will find this, that the purpose of human life is to attain this highest stage, because it is possible there. So we have to, because other things, running after other carnal pleasures, animals also do that. In fact, they do it better than human beings can. they derive more happiness in doing that. Swami Vivekananda mentions, have you ever seen a man eating like the gusto of a dog eating? It is not possible. The dog, when you see the dog at his whatever piece of meat, all his soul, as it were, is immersed into that. Mm. Uh, it is human beings cannot do like that. Their life is for a higher purpose. That thus you have to tell that if you do not get above those, where are you different from an animal? You have some, more brain power, that's all. All animals anyway differ in their brain powers. You have more brain power, but it is same like animal. Shankaracharya points it out very powerfully in his commentary, initial commentary on Brahma Sutra, that it is here there is, you eat, say, in a fancy restaurant, some pizza, and you feel joy. A dog eats a piece of meat, feels a joy. Same thing, not much of a difference there. It is, he says, Pashvadi, Vishya, Avisheshat, there is no distinction between you and an animal. You may be living in, say, Empire State Building in New York, and a worm might be living in some in the soil right underneath there. Now both are in their own dwellings. That worm doesn't have to, pay the taxes. That is the benefit. You have to pay the taxes for that. That's all. So it is right in your room there, in your condo there. There may be a cockroach who is living there with you with a lot of happiness, and doesn't pay any condo fee or tax or anything. So, what do you gain? So, this kind of running after sense enjoyment is, it makes us just an animal, that's all. The difference is that, as a very well-known Sanskrit verse says, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko visheshu, that leading the life, dharma here means leading the life to the ultimate goal. The dharma, the religion, presents us what Jesus very beautifully told, the goal and the way. So, that is where human beings specialize. Otherwise, they are no different from animals. Another verse says that only thing is that they don't eat grass like cattle, human beings. So that much favor they are doing to the cattle, so that the grass at least is spared for them. Otherwise, they are just like animals. So, to elevate ourselves from animals, one has to put in this effort. This effort is a principle in evolution, that yes, you have to overcome those torturous situations to and evolve. So evolution requires this effort, and the laziness of indolence develops when, through being attracted to worldly pleasures, and particularly to the pleasures of sleep, we fail to become disillusioned with the sufferings of samsara. we suffer, we know that, but we tell ourselves that we are after all human beings, we have to go through all these things, and we are not saints. But we are not saints if you say, and you try to prove this, that I am not a saint. So, one person I was threatening, that it is, and remember, I am not a saint. So as if it is something to be pronounced with lot of pride. It is, if you say that you are not a saint, what kind of life you will be in, and what kind of sufferings you will have to get into. This chapter details many such things, that what will happen if you don't evolve yourself through effort. You will just keep on rotting in hellfire. So, it is hellfires are described here, what Providence, not in great details, not like that Dante's description of hell, but has been described. We are going to skip that because we know those things, that only we do not become aware that yes, what is it going to be, and the body gets diseases, it gets uncomfortable, it gets old, all those four noble truths. The first noble truth that Buddha saw, that yes, body gets old, body gets diseased, body gets died. So this is going to happen to you also, to everyone this is going to happen. And it continues with this, that the Bodhisattva has abandoned non-virtue and so does not experience physical suffering. This is, do we want physical suffering? No, nobody wants for that. But how to overcome that? Give up non-virtue. And thus you will not experience physical suffering, because you learn there to separate yourself from body. And thus you will not experience physical suffering. When you practice that, the pain will be there, suffering will not be there. Means the impact or some this result of some disease would be there, but you will not suffer because of that. You see, it is okay, it is the body that is undergoing this. This happens, friends. See Sri Ramakrishna's example, that no, let body and its sufferings, they take care of, let them take care of each other. O mind, you be in bliss. So, the Bodhisattva thus overcomes the bodily sufferings, and this bodily suffering is everywhere otherwise. Even if you have all the amenities around you, even if you say have relatively speaking good health, still there is physical suffering for everyone, not having got what I wanted for this body. So when we are tied to body, the bodily sufferings are a must. But therefore we have to learn to separate ourselves. Then there is, because this person clearly realizes emptiness, he does not experience mental pain. Now this is a little subtle point, emptiness, that it is all really nothing. It is just contact between subject and object. And seeing this person does not suffer even the mental pain, not even physical, not even mental. And therefore you will see such a person, relatively speaking, in bliss, in happiness. You won't see that person cursing others, getting the distortion on the face showing that not happy. The happiness, seeing this emptiness, that there is nothing really of substance in that. There is what is there. This is the idea. Is these are all impermanent things. There is no substance in them. Like the bubbles, they come up. There is no substance in them. They are empty. Like the bubbles that the children play with some soap water. They take a tube and I think many have done that. Adya, have you done that? That making bubbles? Yeah. So some bubbles small, some big, but they are all empty. There is nothing in them. So this world is empty like that. There is no substance to it. When we see this, the mind becomes free from all mental afflictions as well. So, and if not, what happens? By contrast, we are afflicted by conceptions and our bodies and minds are harmed by non-virtuous actions. The bodies get harmed, mind gets harmed by the action. Non-virtuous means against what a bodhisattva should perform. The way a bodhisattva should lead the life, and that is the virtuous life. And opposite to that is harboring anger and jealousy, harboring the various worldly desires for so-called pleasures from contact of sense and object. And that is, such things always, without fail, they will bring pain and suffering to body as well as mind. Do we want that? Ask this question. This is a very sincere that attempt to change our life to something, and that is going to be good for us. So one should be sincerely saying these things to oneself, that if I do not want those results, I should not commit, and the efforts are needed for that. One should have this enthusiasm. Then it speaks of that what happens if I am not conscientiously trying and is lazy. But because of my laziness, I have not purified any of those evils, and so I remain as an abode of infinite suffering. Why does my heart not crack open with fear? That look, all these sufferings is I have to go through. Even a little that suffering that is coming to us, we feel, oh no, I don't want it. Why do we endure that little suffering? is only because we see that there is a reward, a much expected or much hope is coming by enduring a little pain. Like I went to the dentist. Now, of course, the dentistry has become fairly painless. Very little pain is there. Earlier, it used to be, my goodness, people used to, there are very funny stories. And to treat, to extract somebody's tooth, very difficult. A person, Holy Mother, she hid herself under a bed when the dentist was coming. So, it is very funny because that pain is there. But now the pain, why do we endure that, saying that otherwise also I have this toothache. Now, if I take that tooth out or whatever procedure I do, it will be then the end of that suffering. So that pain we endure. So we should thus tell ourselves that for that greater now endure the pain of practicing virtue. It is a little bit painful because of the acquired habits that we have. Now, therefore, they don't leave easily. They are there. Therefore, one has to work against them and these virtuous results. This is a wonderful chapter. I am not reading all of it, but this is a very nice idea that is presented here, that if a snake lies dying on the ground, crows will act like brave eagles and attack it. That is, the eagle will just scoop down and pick a very big, active, poisonous snake. The crows, they don't have that much courage. So the crows, when the snake is lying dead, then they do that. I was seeing here once, out in the courtyard, there was a dead snake and a few crows were, good thing about crows is that they make a lot of, send lot of vocal invitations to their other companions. Human beings are worse. They will have it just for themselves and run away. Even from. Okay. So, in the same way, if my self-confidence is weak, even the slightest adversity will be able to harm me. Important thing is, therefore, to develop this. Yes, I will be able to achieve this in this life. And I understand what this life is for. And I am going to work for it. I can do it. If somebody can do it, why can I not? This is just a science. If that person could do it, I also will be able to do it. So one must develop this self-confidence. And if I do not grab this opportunity, if out of laziness I give up trying, how shall I ever attain liberation in such feeble state? So, again and again, this virtue of striving is extolled here. That as in Bhagavad Gita, the chapter 6, it says, Uddharet Atmanatmanam. By yourself, you have to take yourself out of this mire in which you are stuck, in this situation that you are stuck. Make an effort to get out of it by yourself. Your own effort is required for that. Swami Vivekananda this again and again harps on this self-confidence, this strength in yourself. Feel that, yes, that divine is in me. I can attain that. If any other saint could do it, we have to assure it that I also have this same potential to be able to do that. Therefore, with a steadfast mind, I will overcome all downfalls. Yeah, the downfalls are quite natural, and that should not dishearten us. As Vivekananda says, that say Om Tat Sat Om. If you fall 1,000 times, still get up again and say that yes, I am that. One will, because of the tendencies, one may fall. That doesn't mean that the truth goes away. One must make a try, give it a try again. And there is that famous anecdote of Thomas Alva Edison, that he was working on making that light bulb all day. In a way, is all the gift of what hard work, tireless work he had put in. So, then the bulb didn't work. Didn't work. After making 100 efforts, then he was able to get something going. So his friend said, so your first 100 efforts were wasted? He said, no, they were not wasted. Those things taught me how a bulb cannot be made. So that was an important learning, so how it cannot be made. Perseverance, you have to, they say about his experiments with that recorder. Now you have all these recording instruments here. That first recording instrument he was making, and with a cylinder and that, so it didn't work. As the anecdote goes, it may not be true, but that he would sing the popular nursery rhyme there, Mary had a little lamb. He sang once and tried to play back, nothing was doing. After quite a few attempts and changes he was making, he heard some curr sound. Something is happening. And so he went on, perfecting it. So don't give up. It is, the road is of course tough, but one must keep on striving for that. So we shall conclude today's discussion here. Any questions? If you have, just think about, meditate for 30 seconds, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask, or for those who are listening online, type. Any question? No. Any online question? Okay. So, very good. We shall conclude with this prayer that Shantideva does, that he salutes his teacher, Manjughosham namasyami yat prasadannati shude kalyanamittram vandeham yat prasadacha vardhate. So it means Manju Ghosh was his teacher. So it is also in Buddhist literature called Manju Shri. It sometimes is presented as a form of Buddha. So is saluting him, and by his blessings it comes and it grows too. So we will conclude with our regular closing prayers. To remind you, tomorrow there will be a guest Swami coming, Swami Sumanasananda from Hollywood, and he will be speaking as today after Arati and a little meditation on Thou art my refuge. This lecture will be upstairs. So may the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.